Good evening, everybody. The all of two people in the chat that might as well be Aldous and myself. We'll see if we end up attracting more people. This is a kind of impromptu stream. I don't know if we can call this one in Rome because I don't have any of that stuff anymore. Thank you, StreamYard, for that, by the way. But let's
just call this what it is. Some stills dropped of Christopher Nolan's movie, and to save our marriages and ourselves, we've decided to come on here and yell about it because our respective wives are tired of hearing us yell. So we're going to yell at each other.
Oh my God. Speaking of wives, mine is in the chat. This dress is accurate. Hashtag free the titty might be we need to get this on a shirt. I'm going to design a shirt that's got like the Mycenaean free breast set with hashtag free the titty. That would be gold. Anyways, and then we've got Colin Lamping is joining us. What up, Colin? I know it's been a hot minute. Welcome. Creator Outlet is with us. We're actually getting some people in the chat tonight.
I like how you say that. You're kind of shocked.
I mean, I haven't really been streaming in ages. We even have a Dean James in the chat. Dean's actually going to be working on, or hopefully is working on something for me pretty cool here that I'm excited about. Fueled by the had they dropped the trailer? Did they drop the trailer? Oh, dude, come on. Colin,
all I've seen are the fan-made trailers. I haven't seen anything other than the stills they just dropped.
Yeah, Colin, if they've dropped the teaser or the trailer, because I know a while back they dropped the teaser got leaked and it was god awful, and we'll get to that. Like I'll talk a little bit about that. But like the main thing is that Aldous and I are going to be talking about the stills that dropped today and a bit about what we know about Christopher Nolan's The Odyssey. And in case there's any doubt on my dedication to this, I literally have a Trojan horse here. And I have a little Julius Caesar figurine that I've had since middle school and has accompanied me on many adventures.
Yeah, I'm just a retarded history nerd that gets autistically focused on detail and then yells online about it. With my buddy Odin, because he's the only person that listens to me.
Dean says this may very well be Nolan's first real bomb. Who knows? Like the sad thing is that the general audience doesn't give a shit, and they're going to go see it because Christopher Nolan's name is plastered on it. I'm hoping it bombs to teach people a lesson, but, what do I know?
Here's the downside if it bombs. If it bombs, we're never going to get anything else set in this period.
Not for a while.
You're going to go through the same cycle, and it'll be a decade or more before we get any kind of sword and sandals epic. But honestly, that also might be a good thing because it has been a ridiculously long time since we've had a good sword and sandals epic. So
that is true. Comics Made is saying the casting across the board doesn't look good. I don't even know if I'd agree with that. There are select members of the cast that make me shake my head. But then there are other members of the cast that make me go, okay, I really like that. Like, Matt Damon as Odysseus, it's a bit milquetoast, but it's fine. Like I don't mind it. Tom Holland as Telemachus. We were talking in the green room. Telemachus is incredibly insufferable in the Odyssey.
I thought it was a great casting. I mean,
yeah,
I think the only thing that could have been a little bit more insufferable is if they got like Timothy Chalamet.
Yeah, exactly.
He needs to be old enough that you identify that he's a man, but he also needs to be whining like a child, and he needs to look the part, which is he's not going to be. He should be the antithesis of his dad. His dad should be built. Well, at this point, not weathered. I mean, but not strong, super strong, but still weathered and strong, but not like he was when they first left to come home.
From an aesthetic standpoint, Ray Fiennes, it's going to be very hard to follow up Ray Fiennes' performance and look that he had in The Return. And The Return has tons of problems. It is a flawed movie. I think I'd give it like a 6.5 out of 10, and I think that is generous. My wifey has come down. Do you want to come say hi to people?
No, I just want wine.
She's like, I'm going to watch you bitch and drink wine and have fun with it. And that's fair. I'm excited because we got this in the mail here. I'm teaching her Latin. I'm converting the Carthaginian border. I'm doing it.
Sounds like you're
I love you, hon.
There's a colonizer joke somewhere in there.
Yeah, probably. Anyways, she's just giving faces.
No, I want you to think about colonize her. No, okay, moving on.
Okay, fair enough. That being said, let's get into this. So to start off, let's take a look at this first still and the first article by Empire. So let's rip off the Band-Aid. Screen sharing tips. Gee, thank you, StreamYard. I don't know what I'd do without you. Okay, so the Odyssey is massively entertaining, says Matt Damon. Exactly what you want of a summer movie. So, before we dive into this article, let's take a look at the man of the hour. So here we have our first, I would say, actually good look at Odysseus. What do you say the pros and cons are of this, Aldous?
I have no pros to speak of other than the general Kurios is correct in that he would be wearing something on the front and the back of his chest.
Okay.
It's here. This is going to be a standard thing that I'm going to repeat over and over. Where is the goddamn color? There is no color. This has two shades, brown and darker brown.
Yeah. Well, and this is the frustrating thing for me is look at the ships.
The bow of that ship in the background is wrong.
Yes,
terribly wrong. We're not flying around on Viking longships here. These are Greek triremes.
Not triremes, monoremes by this point.
Monoremes, yes.
But it's frustrating at a point in this stream. I will bring up a film that I despise, but has managed to make this look like, by comparison, this movie is a primary source document. It is very frustrating to me. But anyways, so I would agree with you on the lack of color, lack of anything. There is one pro, and that is this bad boy right here.
Yes,
that is
sword. Although I have problems with the handle itself. I like the pommel, I like the hilt, but the handle itself, I don't like the little geometric thing that's going in on that.
This feels like an authentic Mycenaean era bronze sword. It's got there. I think you even posted on Twitter. There's, if you go and you look up Bronze Age Mycenaean swords, this feels like an amalgamation of all the hilts you'll find. There's little
the
bits
pommel and the hilt, the pommel and the guard are pretty accurate. The grip I have issues with though. In general, I think it does look good, but that's so far down the list of things that I'm going to complain about.
I'm aware. All this, we're here. We've got to be fair, okay? We have to give credit where it's due, and there is a sad man working on the set of this film that went through painstaking lengths to give us something authentic, and should he be watching this stream, we want you to know that we appreciate you. We hate everything else that we've seen, but at the very least, we can say with certainty that the weapons are in good hands.
No, we can't say that. We can't say plural. There's only one weapon in the scene.
Except we
haven't seen the blade yet. So all we can say is the one weapon that we can see, we're mildly not irritated by the handle.
Well, except in a later still that we'll get to, we get to see Odysseus's bow, and unlike pretty much every other adaptation of the Odyssey that we've seen, it is the proper bow. So the weapons guys are doing their jobs, and there is even a group shot that you posted on Twitter here earlier, and all of his soldiers have this kind of hilt or some variation of it.
I thought you were talking about just this one image, but yeah, I mean, if you want to go, we can go with that. That's fine.
So like we'll see if we can't bring that thing up. The chat is blowing up. Is Mo Biggs here? Did Mo enter the chat? No, but we did get Kayla. So we'll say hi to some more people here real quick because some more people showed up. Comics mate saying this is Sparta or something. Fair. I'll accept that, even though this is, I guess, to be proper, it'd be this is Ithaca. Team America, if that counts. Here for the autistic shit fit. Yep. That's us. Hi, Kayla. The sword pommel looks idiotic. The guard and pommel don't look like my name to me at all. You know what? Here to kind of, I'm always one where I'm going to prove my receipts. Mycenaean Bronze Age swords. Images. Here we go. Where are we at? Here. This is a perfect one to bring up. It literally has, hold on. Google is not
well, let's
being
talk,
my friend.
while
right
you're
now.
looking for that, let me talk a little bit about the armor here. So
yeah,
this should be obviously he's playing Odysseus. He's a hero. All the heroes, any leader, any commander, anybody that has name recognition that you're going to see in this should be wearing the most ornate cuirass
yes,
of bronze that just radiates light. On their shoulders, they should have like layered bronze pauldrons, not big like Space Marine Warhammer 40K pauldrons, but they should still have pauldrons that are kind of layered. There should be a leather underlay of this. Now, my hope is that what we are looking at is he has shed his armor and he's just walking around in like the leather underguard. But I don't think that's the case because that's not what that would look like.
Well, and to that point here, I'm going to bring up the image you posted. That's very much not what's happening because we see all of them in a group formation and they're all wearing the same armor. And this is actually something I commented on Twitter. Before we get to that, I want to showcase this. So these are a bunch of different Mycenaean style sword handles. This very much feels like an amalgamation of a whole bunch of these put together. There's some other ones that have more ornate and developed hilts than this, but like this I think gives a pretty good indication of the swords here are actually looking pretty good. I don't know.
I'm kind of shifting back my opinion on the guard. I still don't have a problem with the pommel, but based off of this, I'm starting to have a problem with the guard.
Maybe I'll pull up the one I posted on Twitter as well. But before we do that one, I do want to bring up, because going into what Aldous said, for any of the leader characters, he's absolutely correct. The heroic characters of Homeric tradition are known as the term in Greek is promachos or promachoi. And so these figures are warriors that are like the chieftains. And every single one of them, their armor is like a signature.
Yes. You should be able to see them across the battlefield and everybody would know it was him. That's the whole point when they describe Achilles' armor, everybody recognizes him based on his armor. He doesn't just on a glint, you just see him from across the battlefield and oh my God, it's Achilles.
Yeah. No, and that's exactly the point.
Right, and we're going to get into that a little bit more. I hope you've pulled up all those images I sent you.
I do. No, I have all of them ready to go.
I really want to focus on that because if they don't do this right, it is such an epic loss to the story, especially in the beginning. This is like so important that you get the touchstone right of these characters in the beginning.
So, but like to go as like they're definitely not doing this. Look, These are him and all of his men. They're very clearly ready for battle. The length of the swords are good here. Something that a lot of people don't realize is later on, when Greeks shift from the style of warfare that is used in the primitive Bronze Age era, and the poleis become more kind of defined, they switch to a hoplite style warfare where the prominent weapon is actually the dory spear mixed with a hoplon. Their sword is traded out for a shorter sword, generally what is called today as Xiphos or Kopis. Those are the two kind of favored swords of the hoplite. But during the Bronze Age era, the swords are actually a lot longer and get a lot more play. So fine with the length of the swords, good with the pommels here. But like they're arguing about Braveheart in the chat. Oh my God.
So apparently I was unaware of this, and maybe you can this was a surprise to me. I don't know if it was a surprise to you, but apparently Corinth supplies all of the helmets to Ithaca.
Well, so, and these aren't even Corinthian these aren't
they're
even
Corinthian styled, but they're totally wrong even if you're swinging for that. This is, I don't know what these are supposed to be. Sure, there'd be horsehair manes, maybe, but these look like metal pot helmets like you'd expect the Normans to be wearing that they like super glued manes on.
Yeah.
These helmets should be, again, bronze. Everything should be bronze. It should be bronze. They should have tusks and horns and face guards. The helmets should, especially the leaders, the tribal leaders, the main named characters, should look terrifying.
Yes. Well, and so to that point, this is what I want to get into, is that during this period of time, there are very few people that can actually afford those kinds of sets of armor. Those are your promachoi. Those are your promachos. And so Odysseus would be one of those people in these very daunting signature style.
Right. And then everybody around him should have basically like just a little tiny helmet, maybe with a mane, maybe with some feathers on it, but it's going to have something that's simple, not like this. And in addition, oh my God, the armor in the back's irritating my eyes.
So this is the other thing that I brought up. And I put this on Twitter, and it's actually in this comment. At this point, these guys have been at war for 10 years. So any of the armor and weapons that they came to Troy with, especially given the fact that this is the Bronze Age, it's shot. It's dead. And so what you would actually be seeing is all this uniformity here, bullshit. And this is something... If I were ever to do an adaptation, we got a Mo Biggs. Hail, Mo. We'll catch up with the chat here very shortly, and catch up with this god awful Braveheart chat. Oh God. Anyways, but all of these guys would be wearing kind of an amalgamation of kit that they got off of fallen enemy soldiers. So, like, given the fact that Troy was probably some off branch of like Hittite / Ionian culture, we'd probably see a lot more scaled armor on these guys. You might have one or two pieces that they manage to upkeep, but like a smith can only do so much. You're like, these guys aren't going to be in the stuff that they showed up in. And we actually have a lot of evidence for this in the Homeric texts. Diomedes takes several armor pieces as prizes that he wears later on in the Iliad. I mean, the core moment of the book of Hector killing Patroclus and then taking the armor off of him, he takes Achilles' armor, his old armor, and wears it as his own. Achilles then gets a new set of armor from Hephaestus, and then like that's a whole other thing. But it was custom of this time that when you defeated an opponent, you stripped their armor and you took it.
Well, and as you said earlier, it's because it'd be expensive, very expensive
Yes.
to be fully kitted out in armor of that nature. So yeah, you defeat another badass, you're going to take the badass's stuff, because also, again, you would recognize that person's armor. So if you see another
Correct.
dude wearing his armor, holy cow, he killed
Yeah.
so and so. And it's just it adds
Exactly.
to the mystique. But to your point, yes, I agree completely. Now, I do have one minor comment, and that's Matt Damon's got like these little leather drapery things that are hanging at the bottom of his terrible cuirassier. That's I kind of like that, kind of slightly. It wouldn't look like that, but they're at least trying to take a swing in the right direction a
Yeah,
little bit. But here's the
he
problem:
wearing?
he's wearing pants. Like, what? All these guys should be wearing an amalgam of greaves. Their bracers are wrong. Like it's so amazing how you miss on so many things.
Colin says Matt Cross better show up and blast this film. I would love for Matt to show up. I honestly haven't heard from him in a while. I hope he's doing well. But yeah, Mo Biggs. Ogden is such a homer for Homeric text. I mean, I am.
It's a Western classic. And these are simple things. And here's the issue: if you're gonna miss on something that's this simple, like this is all historically documented, it doesn't take a whole lot of work to go like, what does costuming need to do? Like, just grab a book off the shelf. Like, it's not rocket science. If it's this bad with this, how bad are they gonna mess up the story?
It's going to be a crapshoot. And so Colin's like, do you think Zendaya is playing Cersei? I put this in the comments as well. I actually think it's been confirmed that Cersei is being played by Charlize Theron, which I think would have been good casting 10 years ago, but not so much at this point. But, what do I know? And we'll see. Who knows? Maybe she ends up knocking it out of the park. But he's a homosexual. God damn it, Dean. So this is what's rumored. It's very difficult to gauge at this point. There are so many different cast listings that you will find. I don't think that Nolan has released an official cast list. What I am hoping, because I think it would be the funniest thing ever, is we know that Ellen/Elliot Page is in this movie. I am hoping that she plays they play Tiresias. Because if you know your Greek mythology, you know. So Tiresias is a blind prophet, and Odysseus goes down to see him to gain foresight on what's going to happen and figure out a way to get past Poseidon. It's why they go down to the underworld, is so that he can talk to Tiresias. But when Tiresias was alive, according to Greek mythology, he was a human that got to live life both as a man and as a woman. And the story of how Tiresias became a prophet is actually a pretty saucy one. I'm sure Aldous knows this because he's as much of an autist about this shit as I am. But effectively, one day, Zeus and Hera get into an argument about who enjoys lovemaking more. And so effectively, they go and talk to Tiresias about it because he's had the ability to experience things from both sides of the table. And Tiresias divulges that while sex is constantly yearned by men, women take greater pleasure from it. And Hera is so furious that Tiresias has divulged the greatest secret of her sex that she blinds Tiresias as punishment. And so Zeus, feeling a bit bad that this guy just got blinded, is go, okay, you're blind, but I'm going to give you the gift of prophecy to make up for it. Sorry, bud. Best I can do.
Yeah, don't unblind him. Just be like, sorry, dude.
Sorry, bro. Here's
every married
prophecy
man
for
can
you.
relate to that. Like, dude, I can't. You can't crash on the couch tonight. But here's a 6-pack. Sorry, man.
So like, I think that would be like the funniest troll on the face, like that would be like the funniest troll casting I could possibly imagine. And so that's what I'm hoping for. I doubt that's what I'm gonna get, but I'm really hoping for it.
Right.
Then watch him be playing Odysseus's dad or something like that. It'd just be fucking awful. Uh, but like it's one of these things where he has intentionally kept the casting vague. There's a lot of big names in this movie. A lot of people I think could be really good characters in this story. Like we know Robert Pattinson's in this in a particular role, and there's been tons of different rumors for who he's going to play. We've heard Poseidon, we've heard Hermes, like
Batman.
Yeah, you know, Batman, whatever. But like point is, there's a lot of potential with all these different actors. Now, what I will say is, a few months ago they released a teaser, an IMAX showing of something. I don't even remember what it was, and it got leaked. And so I watched it, and it revealed, as far as I could tell, that John Bernthal is playing Menelaus.
Really?
Yeah, because the teaser starts off and it's Telemachus is asking somebody about his dad and where he is, and then it shifts the camera and it's John Bernthal is talking to Telemachus and is telling him about the last time he saw Odysseus and is talking about all of the rumors about him. So I'm fairly certain that he's actually paying Menelaus. But then here's the funny part is that we know Lupita Nyong'o is in the cast. Love Lupita Nyong'o. Absolutely fantastic actress. Love seeing her in things. Could not, if what I think is true, could not have been put in a worse role, because it A, completely wastes her talent as an actress, and B, is literally just been done because it's going to piss everyone off. And that is, she is sitting right next to John Bernthal in the position of wife, which means that there is literally, if John Bernthal is Menelaus, like I think it is, like I think he is, that means that Lupita Nyong'o is playing none other than Helen of fucking Troy.
What? Hey, just wow, man.
Oh man, that's a new one. And you know what's shitty is that this is going to start a whole like there is an entire community that is going to take this and run with this farther than the Cleopatra was black stuff.
Right. No, for sure.
Oh man.
I don't know. I don't care about that at the moment, man. I'm too focused on just what we're seeing offers me no hope in any other regard.
No,
I
100%.
get what you're saying. I understand that, yes, it's just as severe a problem, but based off of what we've got here, the round shield that's in the background, again, something so simple. They should have like figure 8 shields. I don't have a huge problem with the round shield, but they should. Where are all the other shields? Why do we only have one shield?
So I'm fine with a round shield, but at this point, the shields that you have are generally made not of bronze or even wood, but of ox hides.
Yes.
And so you either have, as you already discussed, a figure 8, or if it is a round shield, it like covers their entire body. Like it's massive.
Right, like you'd expect a Greek hoplite to have about that size. It's like a 3.5, 4 foot circle.
Yeah. Like and
like you wear it on your back, and it should cover from the top of your head down to like your mid thigh.
It honestly should be larger than a hoplon. Like they're freaking massive shields. And so, you know, we spent so much time looking at this dog shit. Let's take a look, because all this took the time to bring up a bunch of different things. So let's take a look at, you know, how this armor could and should look. And there's one image that Aldous sent that I think is the perfect thing to start with, because it really showcases all the different things that you could have with this. And it's one of my favorite images to showcase just how amazing the Bronze Age period aesthetic can be. So I'm gonna stop sharing this crap, and then let's share this fantastic image. Just look at this. So here we have Heroes of the Trojan War. I'm blank. What's the name of this artist, Aldous? I know. I
don't know. It's from the Osprey Heroes of War series. Osprey publishes a whole bunch of them. They do every era, and these plates are for modelers, and they're they're historically accurate as best as they can be at the time of the dress, based off of archaeology and anthropology that's been done. And these plates are designed for modelers so that you can accurately build a model and paint it and have your diorama or your display or your miniatures for tabletop gaming accurate. But
something I also want to mention, and this is something that we didn't talk about with any of the stuff with Odysseus, is there are very few instances of a character in Homeric tradition where we get very specific, highly detailed descriptions of some of their armor pieces. Odysseus is one of those characters, and the piece of armor that we get a massive description of, and I believe it's in the Iliad, is his helmet.
Yes,
which is a layered boar tusk helmet, which is what we see Odysseus wearing in this image right here. Behind Agamemnon, between Agamemnon and Nestor, you see Odysseus wearing that, and I think that this is a pretty good design. And as we talked about, look at the shield. He's got the round shield, but it's literally taking up like his entire body. It's much larger than your standard Hoplon. And yeah, like you see so much here, and there's all sorts of different cool things you could be doing with all of these guys. I think that one of the most frustrating things for me is when the Odyssey images first came out, and people were there are people in our camp, all this, who are pointing out all of the inaccuracies. The opposition was, oh, we're just going to post up pictures of like the really clunky Dendra set. That is what I would expect someone like Ajax to wear.
Right. But okay, when you're talking, I think I actually sent you a picture of that. If you want to pull that up real quick,
I will.
Yeah, because I did send a picture of that, because that is important to talk about. That there was a very, very heavy form set of armor that is archaeologically accurate, historically accurate, that was of the period. However, it was so heavy that most of the time the person wearing it would be being pulled around in a chariot.
Yeah, well, so this is the Dendra set A, I believe is what it's what it's called now. And so and they actually had Greek Marines testing this armor out, and it was way more maneuverable than they expected. But like, this isn't the armor that someone like Odysseus is going to wear. And it's very important to remember that, just like in the age of medieval knights, and it's kind of crazy because like when you get to the hoplite style of warfare, armor is very much utilitarian.
Right.
But in Bronze Age, much like the medieval period, armor is tailored to the individual. And so if a guy has a very bold fighting style, this might be an armor set that he does. Like Ajax is a tank. He is supposed to be like 7 feet tall, and he wields a shield that's 8 ox hides thick and is a weapon in its own right. Like, he is somebody that I would expect to wear this, because you cover this dude in armor and he's literally unstoppable.
Right.
But like Odysseus, even though he doesn't bring it to Troy, he is way more of an archer. He's a mid to distant range fighter. And he's not going to wear something like this. People are like, he's like, I disagree. That armor looks cool. I think it looks great, but this isn't the armor that Odysseus would wear. And people pointed this out, like, oh, he looks so goofy with this. I'm like, A, I don't agree with you. But B, even if they did have this armor show up in the movie, Odysseus wouldn't be wearing it
Right.
because
You
it's
might
not
have one or
his.
two guys wearing it as they're getting ready to leave Troy after everything's ended. You might have one or two guys in the background dressed like this. And yeah, I think Ajax as one of them would perfectly make sense. But yeah. So the other thing is, if you take the Mo's comment down, and great to see you, Mo. If you look earlier, we were talking about the greaves and what should Damon's legs look like. Well, this is a great example. This is somebody that's wearing accurate armor for that time period. But if you look at the greaves, he's wearing basically like cloth guards underneath the greaves that are then lashed to his shins, and that's it.
Yep.
And that's what he would be wearing.
I also want to look at something. Hold on. I forgot to. Okay, they are wearing greaves. I just want to just look back at the other thing because that's actually Homer is known for what's called Homeric epithets. And so, like, these are descriptive words that are assigned to individuals or even groups in some things. And so, for the Greeks, it's very odd, but like the defining thing that he does is he calls them the greave wearing Argives or the greave wearing Achaeans or Danaans, and it's very important that they're wearing greaves.
Yes,
which is a very odd, very odd detail, but consistent in Homer, which is not something that you find often. So I wanted to double check that because that is actually important. So they are wearing greaves. A half point to them for that detail.
Yes, but they're wrong because if we go back to that picture of that group again, they're dull. See how even here they've got a little bit of a shimmer to them. That's how all the armor should look, even if it's tarnished, even if it's seen battle and dented, which it all should be. But the breastplates, the cuirasses, should be just shimmering because again, if you're Odysseus and you've got servants that are polishing your armor every night. But the guys around him might not. They might only have like one polished piece. And again, to your point, if you would have done something like that, it would have given them more of that disheveled ad hoc appearance of everybody's armor that would be accurate for the fact that we just fought a 10-year-long war.
Now, and so to also give some alternatives, I think that there's all this sent a fantastic image. It's of Agamemnon from the game Troy Total War. Which is absolutely fantastic. I'm terrible at it because I suck at all RTS, which is like the bane of my existence because they're the only video games that cover this fucking period of time. Meanwhile, I'm over here crying about it. I just want a hack and slash that takes place during one of these things, and the best I get is Assassin's Creed Odyssey, which blows dick. I'm very much unhappy. But anyways, let's take a look at this because this is where you as Aldous is saying, these things were designed like these were as Aldous and I were saying, these are the signatures of each of these characters, and they're what help these guys stand out in the field, and they can be so badass. And like, just look at this.
Right. Now there's some things, this is obviously from a game, so there's a little bit of license that's going on. But that being said, like if this is authentic. If this showed up, this is pretty authentic. Like there's a couple of minor issues that I have with it, but if you look at like the detail that's on the cuirassier, and remember earlier I was talking about you'd have some pauldrons and they'd be layered, almost like one piece fits on top of another. That's what you'd be seeing. This image I sent you for one specific reason, and it's because of the helmet. This is the kind of helmet that they would be wearing. It's scary. It's intimidating. You look at that and you go, well, that's kind of demonic. That's the point. It's supposed to, just by seeing this guy, you're going to know who he is. And then when you actually see him, because you got to remember, you will never see these people. You're hearing legends about them. And then once you see them and they're absolutely terrifying and they're huge, you're going to go, oh my God. Because again, if you're the average Greek guy, your diet's not nearly as well as the king's. So he's going to be a little bit bigger and a little bit more built. And plus he's got experience. So he's going to be, just a general badass. And then he looks like this. Like, it's just terrifying.
And this is Agamemnon. This is the guy that's the leader of the entire fucking Danaan cohort. And like, what's crazy is, so obviously, if you know me, I have my book Elysian Fields. I had a blast designing Achilles' armor, but if I wanted to go like full on authentic, Achilles' armor that he gets from Hephaestus has like a, if I recall correctly, has 6 of these fucking boar tusks on it.
Yes.
Has 6 of the goddamn things. It's like a crown
Yep.
around his horse mane. Like it's insane. These things look so freaking cool. And Hollywood has no balls. They effectively go, oh, well, people are expecting the generic Greek stuff. And there's part of me that goes, okay, I get it. Because when you go and you look at like the classic Hellenistic era pottery that depicts a lot of these images, they depict the character not in these archaic Bronze Age panoplies. They depict them in the contemporary style of when they are being made, because that was the whole thing, is these are the stories of their past, and they also didn't have the archaeology that we have today. And going and disturbing the tomb of somebody like Agamemnon or what have you was sacrilege, and also a good way to get fucking cursed. So like they weren't exactly going to go look at any of this stuff. So they kind of took the rule of, oh, well, this is what we do now. I'm sure that this is what has always been done. But we have the advantage of really showcasing this. And what's such a shame is, look at how fucking fantastic that is. You look at that and you go, there's no way that was real. But then you go and you see it. It's legit. Because,
Yep.
and I'm going to move on to another picture, another one of these images Aldous sent. This is straight up another one of the Dendra sets that we have.
Yep. Well, and also the color. If you looked at that, there was color present. Yes, he's bathed in shadow, but the Curios, it's got different levels of polishness. There's a little bit of inlay that's going on. You can do a lot. I mean, they had access to ivory. You could do an ivory inlay. Now, this is what I'm talking about. This is what, when you describe some of the armor, it should look like. Again, this has got that heavy cuirass like we saw earlier, but look at the shoulder pauldrons. Look at the neck guard. It's almost like a giant, is it Gorgon?
Gorgon,
you got the figure 8 shield. Look, that sword is perfect. Look at the scabbard. Now, again, look at the greaves. What do we have? We've got a pad underneath and then a bronze wrap. And you just see how shiny they are? Like that. Yeah. This isn't hard to hit, and they've completely missed these.
Also, look at the diversity of weaponry here. And this is the thing. This is the archaic age of Greece. Everybody always wants to depict the Greeks using the freaking shield and spear. But the fact of the matter is that this is a period of time where warfare is not fought in the rank and file. This is a period of time where it's literally a mosh pit to the death, and occasionally you have some fucking crazy dude in armor like this on a chariot that literally comes through, spears a few people, hops off the chariot, fucks up another few people, and then challenges a guy to a duel, and that duel decides the battle. Like, this is how the battles are fought in the Homeric thing of the Iliad. It was very frustrating. I was watching what the fuck was it? There was this Greek mythological historian watching Troy, and it pains me to fucking give this movie credit, but there's a sequence in Troy where you have the battle, the armies just charge at each other, you've got guys on chariots, and then they hop off, and like a duel is fought, and he goes, oh, this is so unrealistic to think that like ancient battles were fought in this way, where a guy just would use a chariot like a taxi to go and fight someone. Like, that's exactly what they fucking did in the Iliad, is a taxi of death that fucking drove them to kill their next opponent.
Well, so imagine you're wearing all this armor. You're not going to, and again, you're a king, right? You're a king, and then there's other kings around you. You're leading your cohort as this giant army. You're not going to walk your ass wearing all this shit across the battlefield.
You're gonna fucking have someone walk.
You've got one or two guys with you in a chariot, and you're going to go also for fast response, because as your men are fighting, there might be one spot of the line that's kind of wavering, and you want to get over there because You yourself are the leader. It's not, I'm not going to send orders to that guy. No, they're following you. Yes, you have sub commanders, but they're following you. And when you show up looking like this, your boys are going to go, hey man, the king's here. And the other guys, again, are going to look at him and go,
it's a motivation aspect. Exactly. And to that point, you're talking about, you have people that drive you there. Every single one of these fucking characters in the, and this is why people always talk about the Odyssey. I think the Iliad is the far more important text, and I will stand by that, hence the shirt. But when you're reading the Iliad, you don't just get to know the warriors, you know their fucking chariot drivers.
Yes, because Achilles is important.
Achilles' chariot driver is named Automedon, right? Nestor is old, so he generally drives the chariot for either one of his sons, or there's a chapter in the Iliad where Diomedes is fucking up all the gods, and towards the end of it, Hector has destroyed Nestor's chariot and killed one of Nestor's sons. Diomedes comes to his aid, so Nestor drives the chariot for Diomedes. These characters, like the chariot driver, is essential to getting the Promachus to their fucking opponent.
Right. It's the equivalent of the relationship between the knight and the squire in medieval times. It's the equivalent of a relationship now between like a commander and his primary, like in the Napoleonic Wars, it'd be your aide de camp. It'd be the guy that you absolutely trust to help to talk through something too. Like, Nestor was a huge use because he had been alive for so long. He was a walking wisdom. So you'd ask him, like, Nestor, what did you think? And Nestor would openly give his opinion. That's done repeatedly. So you've got aspects like that, and that's one of the reasons why they're so important. But I want to focus again on the fact that these guys are almost demigods.
Yes.
To the people that are around them. And in some cases, like Achilles, they are. Well, they actually are.
Most of these guys are demigods to a certain degree. Agamemnon and Menelaus are both from one of the most famous and cursed lines in Greece. They are of the house of Atreus. And Atreus is the son of Pelops, who the Peloponnesus is named for, who was the son of fucking Tantalus. These people are literally descended from the original men that are built from the gods.
Right.
Like,
everybody can trace their lineage back. They're
and that's the whole point. Like, Odysseus, I think, is really the only guy that we know of in that line that doesn't have any crazy mythological things. But even I think his grandfather was a bastard of Hermes. Like, all of these guys are like Ajax the Great is a son or grandson of Heracles. There's all of these people that are massive figures. And Colin Lamping is asking how he wonders how the Cyclops is going to look in the film.
It'll be a dude with an eye patch.
No, actually, this one I'm excited for because Polyphemus is going to be a blend of animatronics and practical puppetry. They filmed it on location. They filmed the Polyphemus sequence on location at Nestor's cave. Really? That segment of the film is going to be the one thing that makes this probably worth price of admission. That like if I go see it in the theaters, this is going to determine if he shows up in the trailer and looks as spectacular as I'm hoping. That might be the only reason I go see this in theaters. If the trailer comes out and we don't see Polyphemus and he looks like shit, I'm probably not going to see it in theaters. I'll wait till it's on streaming and then probably search the open seas for that, if you catch my drift.
Indeed. But also here we've got that figure 8 shield that I referenced earlier. It's a wood frame with oxide, tan treated oxide stretched over it. But again, look at the detail work on the sides where the leather's been wrapped. And I mean, this is what's such a disappointment, is there's such an opportunity for such amazing detail work, and they've chosen not to go down that path. And with armor like this, with a shield like that, man, these are just, it's such an opportunity, in my opinion, for costuming to just be a huge part of the movie, at least in the first part. And man, it's just such a miss, such a disappointment.
So Kayla's asking, how long is this movie supposed to be? This is going to be a big one. Christopher Nolan said Empire has been releasing a bunch of features on this. And in one of them, Christopher Nolan says that they shot over 200 feet of IMAX film for this, which is insanity. Like, it's going to be a long movie.
Yeah, we're going to see cutscenes for a long time coming out of this.
Yeah, no, like this is going to be a big boy. I fully expect bare minimum of 3 hours.
Yeah, it'll probably. I would anticipate it's going to be I would not be surprised to see it like of Gettysburg length and be like 3.5, 4 hours with a 20-minute intermission and probably an overture at the beginning.
I wouldn't be surprised. No, I'd agree with that. No, like, the one thing I will give Nolan is he has said in multiple interviews that he wants this to be the most comprehensive telling of the Odyssey in modern times. And so I'm sure that at the very least, I think I'm going to have a lot of issues with the film, but I do think that he is going to hit all of the beats. We aren't going to see anything cut out. I'm interested to see how he tells the story. I remember when rumors were first coming out from the production, there's like, Tom Holland's going to play the protagonist. People were trying to justify him being Odysseus. It's like, no, because if you actually read the Odyssey, it's not a linear book. It starts off and Telemachus is trying to figure out what the fuck has happened to his dad, and it's kind of told in a series of vignettes. So like, I'm interested to see how Nolan handles this. If he does that, that could be an interesting approach to it. Like, Nolan is a very talented filmmaker, and he's brought a bunch of really impressive stardom to this retelling. And I think that that's also what makes everything that we've seen from it so utterly fucking disappointing, is because this could have been a moment to really redefine the genre, and it feels so basic and generic. It honestly makes Napoleon by Ridley Scott look colorful.
Yes.
And that's horrible. And
well, and that's the other thing. I want you to, we talked a little bit about the color earlier, but I mean, everything we've shown so far, I've talked a lot about making sure that the bronze, you can see that that's bronze, but do you see the other colors on the shield? There's different layers of browns, but now look behind them. That is of era architecture and art, and the colors that should be there, should be transposed onto their clothing. Like the edges of all of their tunics should have thread that has color in it. This is not an era of just browns and grays.
So like, that's the other frustrating thing, is the other good things that I've seen from this are the set pieces, because they are in the proper coloring. And we're going to get to some of that here in a sec. But like, dude, they revealed what the Trojan horse looks like. And dude, it looks fucking beautiful.
Really?
It's very frustrating. Like, you know, like the famous one where they almost make the Trojan horse look like it's carved out of marble.
Yeah.
It looks like that, except wooden.
Nice.
Like, it looks sick.
It's looks like epic enough that the Trojans would think this was a gift.
Yeah, no, like let me find it, because I know that it's in one of these things.
Yeah, and I just sent you something that before we end the show we have to talk about.
Well, and we're gonna go on for a little bit, because I want to talk about Penelope, because
I want to talk about Penelope, because we disagree on this. But
Odyssey, Empire. Let's see. Yeah, here we go. So Stopping this screen. This is from the Empire exclusive cover. Look at the Trojan horse in the background there.
Okay. That does look appropriately epic that the Trojans would think it was a testament to their bravery and accept it as a gift.
Yeah, like it's frustrating because they do a lot of this really good stuff, but like then again we have to temper our expectations because Penelope looks fucking terrible.
Yes.
Now I like Anne Hathaway. I think that she
do not
was
like her in casting in this.
that's all well and good. Those are
She's
where
a fine actress, but I think this is a miscast, a terrible miscast. Penelope is Odysseus's wife. Odysseus is the definition of intelligence and cunning. Everybody respects him because it talks to him because he's a smart man. He's a good king. He's a brave dude. His wife, Penelope, is the feminine reflection of everything that Odysseus is.
yes.
Where he is strong, she is agile. Where he is brilliant and cunning, she is warm and accepting. But they're both still brilliant. These two characters are opposite sides of the same coin. It's the perfect marriage. And just to have her be this plain.
It's awful. And I'm gonna bring up some stuff because we've been showcasing all of the the panoply stuff, and so like I think it's only fair to really showcase how much they really fucking dropped the ball on this as well. And I want to do that by showcasing, what Mycenaean era women specifically would have looked like, and that's tragic. Now, there is one positive thing about this, and I've mentioned this to Aldous, and that is this right here, the bow. She is holding a bow that looks like a backwards bow. This is the actual bow that Odysseus used in the Odyssey. You can go and find it in the vase work. You can go and find it everywhere. And this is how it's specifically described in the Odyssey. And this is the first time it's been properly depicted on screen. So I will give them that. Again, kudos to the weapons department. But even as Aldous was talking about all the color, look at the interior.
Look at the background. This is
Yeah.
this is the interior palace of Ithaca. There's no color. It's just etched stone. These would be painted. There would be designs on every column. If you look at the top of the one column, there's a little bit of green. Like that should carry down the entire wall.
There's blue and reds. There's these bold red stripes here on the palace walls. It's just all muted because Christopher Nolan decided to shoot this like fucking Ridley Scott. And I think that this is the biggest crime here, is that again, it's like this is a much more like this is such a bright and vibrant time. You're talking about the Aegean, which is already incredibly bright and vibrant. If you ever go to the Mediterranean and the Aegean, they have very similar settings in terms of like you're constantly surrounded by these beautiful blue bodies of water, lots of like solid climate. It's warm there. Like it's a very rich and luscious area. In Ithaca, it's a bit rocky as well, but like this palace should look resplendent. Yep. And I am sure that it actually does. Like that's the thing, Aldous, is that I'm sure that the set that these guys built actually does, but they have everything so muted. Fuck Mo Biggs. God damn it. Okay, but so like to really hit home on. All right, so architecture looks like it actually has some promise, but it's just being muted by a shitty camera flare.
I would agree with that.
But let's take a look at what actual Mycenaean women look like, because man, like we'll start off with a very traditional painting of Penelope that's from pottery art. So this is from a I think it's like a second or third century BC pottery piece. This is pretty standard, but this is the Greeks, as I said, this is Greeks making it contemporary to their time.
Yep.
This isn't how Mycenaean women would have dressed, though, but it's still better than what we got. No, like the hairstyle is different. We aren't having them just put their hair up in a bun. It's curly, it's wavy, it's coming down. She's also wearing a shawl. So there's that. Now let's take a look at what Mycenaean women would have looked like. So we're going to do.
Yes, Colin. Yes, he's going to do that.
So this is from an Instagram post called Persephone, and she does a fantastic job of showcasing all of this.
Yep,
So
the
like
hair
these,
ribbon is perfect. It's right out of the art.
like this is Mycenaean culture, and down to the makeup and everything. She's got the dress on. The other big thing is that Mycenaean women generally have their breasts exposed. Not going to expect that in a Hollywood film, especially not with such large stars. But look at these beautiful fucking blues and reds, the jewelry, the silk headband, the ornaments. Everything is so rich and vibrant, and there is none of this in her design.
Nope.
None of this shit.
Again, it's the lack of color. Everything's dour. Everything's put on this filter that we have to have. And I sent you one that we don't have to show it, but if you look, there's a couple images out there of what the last, like the Greeks and how they were portrayed in the 50s and 60s versus how they're portraying them now. And it's shiny and it's colorful and it's bright and the sky is blue. And if you look at this, like the sky is an eternal dour gray. Everything is mud and everything is brown and everything is filthy. Or not filthy. That's a problem, because if you look at everything that we've seen so far, everybody's clean. There's no scars. There's no wounds. You just got done fighting a 10-year battle and everybody's immaculate.
And we're getting a very rare but genuine comment from Mo Biggs. And he's right. Hold them to higher standards. If the dudes were dong for it, they would insist on portraying that accurately. But there's the joke there as well. But like in all reality, like this is what we should be expecting. Because look at how gorgeous that is. And like you don't even have to have her having all of this stuff. A lot of the makeup here, I think, is actually from their marriage customs, so it's not something that they would necessarily be wearing every day. But like, look at the rich costuming. Look at all of these bright, vibrant colors. Why are you muting shit out?
Yep.
It's like looking at the behind the scenes footage of a Zack Snyder DC movie and seeing the costumes. Like if you've ever seen the behind the scenes footage of like Henry Cavill on Batman versus Superman, it's like his suit's this very bright fucking blue, and you're like, man, that's gorgeous. And then you see it in the actual film and it's all muted to shit. Why are you doing that? This is the same deal.
This is nothing new. This has been a trend for a long time. And it's no different than after Bourne came out, every action movie had to have the shaky cam action.
Oh God.
People get into styles, and that's why people talk about there are eras of filmmaking, because something changes, everybody copies it for a while until the next new thing comes out. And right now we have been in a dour, colorless filmmaking style for, it seems like, forever. I can't remember the last truly brightly well-colored and lit movie that I saw that was new.
It certainly has felt like a fucking age. It's very upsetting because, like, as I said, and I said this on a Twitter post because Kayla was joking with me and was like, "Oh, does this mean Troy's now one of your favorite movies?" Like, don't fucking put words in my mouth. But like, by comparison, a movie that came out in 2004 with likely nowhere near the budget that Nolan has done with this,
aged a lot better, actually, comparatively to what's coming out now.
It's a whole thing of Troy's biggest problem is its narrative and its handling of its authenticity to the Homeric subject material. But its design, its casting, everything like that feels right, especially within the context of the time that it came out. I think it's really funny because most people, including myself at the time, when we heard Brad Pitt was going to play Achilles, a lot of us were just kind of like, okay, Meet Joe Black is an interesting choice. Um, like, yeah, he had done Fight Club, but like that was a bit more obscure. He was known as like the kind of the pretty boy, and there's certainly a degree of that that fits Achilles. But man, he sold that character. It is the best part of that movie. Achilles, I would say, up through the first hour of the film is the best part, and then they ruin his character with a very fragrant misunderstanding of who he is.
Yes.
Like they try to make him way more emotionally insightful than Achilles should be.
Yes.
The moment that they lost me was where
you're being very kind.
like the moment they lost me is where he's talking to Briseis. It was like, I've seen all the gods, they envy us and this, that, the other. And I was just like, no, Achilles isn't going to have this kind of a dialogue with a war trophy. Sorry, not sorry. You guys should have stuck to the writing that you had where that kid's like, that the man you're fighting, he's the largest person I've ever seen. I wouldn't want to fight him. And then he just immediately responds, and that's why you're never going to be remembered.
Right.
That right there, that moment, fucking Achilles.
Yes.
Him giving the speech to the Myrmidons, we are lions. That is fucking Achilles. Making him emotionally insightful and what have you. This is a guy that literally is defined by two characteristics: rage, pride. That's it.
Yeah, his emotional range and spectrum is very small.
I'll give him regret also, because at the end of the Iliad, he comes full circle and is able to acknowledge that range gave him nothing, and so he makes peace with Priam and he gives Hector's body back and redeems himself. And that's the whole point of the Iliad as a narrative, is it comes full circle.
Right.
But Troy has a lot of problems, but hold on. I'm going to like we were talking about the ships earlier. Look at how gorgeous this is by comparison to what we looked at the beginning of this fucking stream. This is a fantastic example of a Homeric era monoreme.
Yep.
One row of oars. Great, like a fantastic authenticity. You've got the eyes on the ship bow.
Yep, the ramming prow.
Everything here is simple
sail. Yep, this is perfect, and including the art that's on the sail. And you see it. You can see the seams where the cloth was all sewn together. Perfect. Everything about it's perfect.
And even if I don't know how, I don't think that they would have necessarily had the emblems here, but who this ship belongs to. Who this ship.
Not all sails would be painted, but certain sails would be painted.
Yeah, but this is the flagship of who? If you were to see this, who are you going to guess who it is? Without cheating and looking at the person that's on the ship, that's literally the tallest human being you've ever seen.
Oh no, this is Ajax. I'm sorry, you're asking me?
Yeah,
this is Ajax.
This is Ajax's ship, and there he is, right there by the bow. Right, there is fucking Ajax the Great. It's so freaking good. I will shit on Troy for its narrative. I will shit on Troy for them allowing the sacrilege of having Paris kill Achilles, but then allowing Paris to live. They did a lot of things that make me fucking furious. But I will be damned if anyone tries to compare the costuming and design of Christopher Nolan's Odyssey to this movie. Because this movie nailed that part of the assignment. And
well, and
the
it's 20
Odyssey
years later.
sucks.
Like we know more now than we knew then. So there's even
Exactly.
more of a reason why this should be accurate.
Yes, agreed.
And the technology's improved now too. You can do so much more that our expectations should increase. I mean, Mo's not wrong there. We should hold them to accuracy for sure.
It looks like the flagship of Fallopia. God damn it. All right. Well, we've been going for about an hour and 10 minutes. I think that that's a pretty damn good amount of time. I think we've covered everything that we wanted to talk about with this.
It is. I did send you a tweet. I want you to talk
about.
I want to pull that up. But first, I want to talk about something. And that's people laugh about, well, why is all of this important? And, oh, they didn't actually do that. Well, when it comes to some things, it is important, and they did do that. And right now, Mexico is going through some massive social unrest, and the rioting mob broke through the temporary walls that they built around the presidential palace. The Presidential Royal Guard is in full riot gear. As soon as the wall fell, they formed the turtle formation, the famous Roman studio.
Testudo?
So, yep. And you can see it in the video I sent you. It is absolutely awesome that when you talk about the simplicity and, oh, this isn't important. Here's the same tactic that Rome used to siege fortifications, and it's being used. Why is it being used? Because it works.
Yep. And like, you've got to feel like this is what it's like to fight an ancient battle. It is a fucking right. Right.
Do you see how they're throwing things at them and they're not moving?
Yeah.
Now, and then if they want to, once they'll let them exhaust themselves, and then everybody will take a step forward and push out. And then they'll reform, and then they'll let them bomb again, and then they'll push out and reform. Because as long as you're in that turtle, you're fine.
Yeah. No, 100%. And I think that's a great way to kind of sum things up. Like it is a whole thing of, while the past may be in the past, and while you can argue a whole bunch of things, what you can't argue is that we would not be where we are without the legacy of those that came before. And it is important that we pay respect and understand the things that these people succeeded and failed to do.
No, for sure. And then even to add on to that even more, I mean, the Iliad and the Odyssey it's a cornerstone of Western mythology, of Western history. It's not like, I don't consider it as sacrosanct as like the biblical story of Christ or the Old Testament and the creation of humanity to Western culture. But my God, is it close?
It's pretty, I would agree with you. It's pretty fucking fundamental. In order to truly understand Western civilization, you need to know the Iliad.
Right.
You need to know the Odyssey.
Odin and I we're both focused in different aspects of history on what our true loves are, but we're both fascinated by this era. But I will also say this, just to accentuate a little bit of a point on it. I love reading about the Civil War. I love the contrast of ideology and the contrast that people were torn apart interior because of their loyalty to the country and their loyalty to the state and family. One of the things that you constantly see with especially the educated, the generals on both sides, most of them only could carry a couple of books with them. Almost to a man, the three books that they would carry with them, the Bible, the collected works of Shakespeare, and the collected works of Homer.
Yep.
And so throughout all the letters of the Civil War, whether it's Stonewall Jackson or Ulysses S. Grant, they're quoting events out of that book because that's what they're reading every night before battle. That these are the things that they're focused on. They're spending those moments writing letters home and referencing their reading material, which are those books, two of which are from Homer, that are talking about this. And it's a cornerstone of Western philosophy. It's a cornerstone of Western understanding. It's a cornerstone of our history because of how often they're referenced. And understanding these stories is vital. You don't mess with them. You can't mess with them.
Yep. And to add on to that, that's a fantastic point. And the person that I'd probably say the most influential character of antiquity, the person that really defined what we understand of Western civilization, and that, what, for better or worse, made the first attempt to bridge the gap between the East and the West, styled himself after Achilles, slept with a copy of an annotated edition of the Iliad by his teacher Aristotle under
Yep.
his pillow with a knife. Alexander the Great went through his campaigns in Persia, India, everywhere with this story. It defined who he was as a person, and it defined the entirety of Greek culture, which has served as the benchmark of pretty much every Western civilization since. I'm a huge Rome guy, but really everything that Rome built was built upon the backbone of Greek culture. It obviously has its own identity. It did things on its own, but there is a reason why even in ancient Rome, the language of the social elite was not Latin; it was Greek.
Right.
So,
yep, for sure, man. Well, and also, I mean, that's another great point. The works of Homer traditionally were what you used to learn Greek.
Yep. But that being said, I think this is a great place to end the stream. It's been a blast hanging out with everybody. It's been far too long, my friend.
Yeah, always a pleasure, brother.
And Christopher Nolan, if you by some chance end up watching this, sorry, not sorry. You guys have a good one. We're going to head out. Cheers.